Low budget production. What's up, everybody? Hey, if you are a Star Wars fan, this was a big week for you. If you're a Star Wars fan as well as a video game fan, this was an even bigger week for you. Two big Star Wars releases in The Mandalorian, which is a Netflix, I'm sorry, a Disney Plus original, and the video game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, long ass title. So I consider myself a Star Wars fan, right? I've seen all the movies multiple times. I grew up on that stuff. I know a little bit of the history. Not a fanboy, let me clarify, not a fanboy. A fanboy, to clarify, is someone who is dedicated unquestionably. Whatever you're a fan of, they can do no wrong, whether it's a movie, a franchise, a team, a character, an entertainer, whatever it is, they cannot fail in your eyes. So when The Last Jedi came out, as a fan, hugely disappointed, like terribly disappointed, like to the point I felt disrespected. And I vowed after that to never invest another dollar into any of these Star Wars franchises. So I said it would take a lot for them to reel me back in as a loyal fan. And I think they did that. They may have pulled that off just in one single week. So The Mandalorian, first off, let's start with Disney Plus. All right. Much anticipated. Had some technical issues the first week. I saw it online. I didn't want to look into it too much. I didn't want to delve in. I just wanted to experience it for myself and develop my own opinion, right? But just looking at it, how can you not be excited? Look at the catalog. We got Avengers movies. We got Star Wars characters. We got incredible classic Pixar movies like Toy Stories, Moana, originals. Yeah, so it had a rocky, shaky start. I know my devices were constantly logging out every single day, just mad issues. But as far as I'm aware, I think they fixed it. I haven't had any issues lately. One thing I will bring up, which is a big negative for me, is there is no binge watching. I'll say that again. There is no binge watching, meaning as of now, less than 1 week into the launch, there is currently 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, one of their originals. And I'm pretty sure when it launched, there was only one. I know this other show with Jeff Goldblum, when I put it on, The World According to Jeff Goldblum, there was only one episode. I was like, well, maybe there's some kind of weird format where it's kind of hard to find the other episodes. You got to do some weird search. But no, I realized there's no binge watching. You can't just sit through it and watch episode after episode. I don't understand what the marketing strategy was behind that. I don't know if it's like a longevity thing, like if that's a way to keep people around for a while. I know right now they're offering a trial period of 1 week. So I don't know if it's like they want to make sure people stick around, like somebody, because I'm not going to lie. Some people, including myself, would potentially, for a service, not this one, but subscribe for a week, binge watch everything that I want to see, and then just cancel. So I don't know if that was a strategy, but we'll see if it pans out for them. I didn't really care for that much, but the library is amazing nonetheless. So, Mandalorian. What the hell is a goddamn Mandalorian? Well, turns out it's a race. Okay, so the Mandalorian would be like the equivalent of saying the Mexican. You know what I mean? Like that's just it's a race. That's what they are. Interesting choice in character, and I don't mean like questionable. I mean like that was a good choice because the bounty hunters have a like a cult following. They've always been really intriguing. They've been mysterious. People have since Boba Fett, you know, they've always been interested. They're like dark. They have their own code, but they don't abide by everybody else's code. Kind of like they're like the Batman of this franchise. So interesting choice in character. I'll tell you, they needed to deliver. They needed to deliver on this to reel all the disenfranchised fans back in. And in my opinion, this is not a full review because the full series isn't out, but just first impressions, I think they delivered. They hit that sweet spot of it's not a big budget over the top movie where they try to appeal to everyone, but it's got like kind of like that indie feel, sort of like Rogue One, where it doesn't have the biggest budget, not the most general audience, but it's got some great writing, some great actors that are either towards the end of their career, or they're just really in a hungry spot in their career. Bill Burr, a comedian, one of my favorite comedians. Like, how the hell did he end up in Star? I don't know. But not a big name is what I'm saying, but great writing, very creative risks. So it's got that going for it. It's got moments that are dark, that are deep, that have some moments that have the cute Disney feel, and some action, some well-timed, not just like, it's not wall-to-wall action, because you think that's something that would be a positive, but it's all about pacing. If it's just action, and no context, it's just, it makes for I mean, you could like overstimulate. It's just bad. It's all about pacing, and this has good pacing. Just for context, as far as the timeline, this takes place after episode 6. I don't want to explain the timeline of Star Wars because that shit sounds confusing when I explain it. But just know that it takes place after episode 6 if you're curious and you want to know where the hell this is going on. So that being said, if you are not already, how do you say it? If you're not already involved in the Star Wars franchise, if you're watching it out of context, you can still watch it and still enjoy it for what it's worth. But if you are a big fan and you understand the universe and you have some sort of background, 10 times better, 20 times multiplier. You will like this. There was some stuff that was so like deep in context, some of the conversations, I was like, fuck are they talking about? I gotta go to Wikipedia. And even then I still didn't understand. But it just has that level of depth. I'll tell you where they made the right decision was they picked up Jon Favreau, the director of, I don't know how many Marvel movies, but I know he did Iron Man 1, which almost single-handedly single-handedly saved Marvel as a company. They were failing. They were selling off their intellectual properties. And he took on Iron Man, not the most popular character, not the most beloved, not the most known. You know, all the other characters had been done to death. We've seen like 30 Spider-Man movies. We saw the Uncle Ben scene 40 times. He took a character that was still interesting, that had some teeth, and he nailed it. And he grew multiple Marvel franchises off the back of Iron Man 1. And I feel like that's what's going on with The Mandalorian. Like, they lost a lot of people with The Last Jedi, and now they're coming with they're pleasing fans. A lot of these franchises, these companies, like, not only they're not made for the fans. I don't know how to say this, man. Definitely not made by fans, and kind of not even made for fans. They're really just trying to they're trying to appeal to everyone and trying to feed their bottom line. And they don't They don't care. They're not in touch with the fans. They're not in touch with the community, and they don't care, man. You can review bomb them all the day, all day long, but if you're not hurting their bottom line, if the fanboys are still pouring money into it, then it's going to take a bad direction, and that's what happened. But I feel like they delivered with this, and most of all, most importantly, each episode, I wanted to do a first impression where I only saw the first episode, but it was so good that I wanted to watch the second one. So most importantly, it keeps you wanting more. So I think if you are getting Disney Plus, I doubt anyone's getting Disney Plus just for this franchise, but if you have Disney Plus and you are into Star Wars, 100% recommend it. All right, that being said, we had another Star Wars release, which is in the form of a video game. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, right? So I was intrigued by this for multiple reasons. It's made by Respawn, who developed Apex Legends, which I loved and which was one of the biggest games of the year. Right. Not only that, but I saw a little bit of gameplay. They leaked a lot of gameplay for this, right? And I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to watch too much of it because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. Again, I just wanted to just jump in and, experience it for myself. But I will say one of the reasons I did jump in was because Respawn, and two, I saw some gameplay clips of the combat, which to me is very important. That's a huge part of the experience. I like action games that have good combat, like the Batman Arkham series. The Spider-Man's was kind of a copy off of Batman, but anything like that, Devil May Cry, where they have good, solid combat, because a lot of your gameplay is going to be based around combat. If it's solid and it looks like it's addicting, then I'm most likely gonna buy it or play it at some point. And I think they hit the nail on the head with that. So that being said, graphics are freaking amazing, man. It doesn't feel linear at all. It's very immersive. And if like just looking at this clip, this is 720p. So graphics aren't sharp, but just look at that, man. Beautiful landscape. If you're a fan and you're looking at this, a junkyard, a graveyard of Star Destroyers, that's kind of moving. You're like, damn, I don't think we've seen that. We saw one downed Star Destroyer in we saw once in the last Star Wars movie, whatever. And even seeing that, we're like, oh wow, that's kind of moving. This one, like, you're literally traversing old, beat up, wrecked Star Destroyers. So the maps, the levels are very non-linear, meaning like it's not one set path. There's multiple paths you can take, to the point where like you don't know where where the mission is supposed to be taking you versus what's kind of hidden. And I love games like that. Traversing feels really good. The combat is solid. Basically everything you look for in these action action platforming type of games, it delivers, man. As far as the story goes, this one takes place after episode 3. So if you remember episode 3, Anakin, Darth Vader, was given the orders to basically eliminate all the Jedi. Not just him, but he was the one to execute literally the Padawans, the youngling Jedi, the kids. Killed the kids, man. Killed the kids. So Cal, the protagonist in this story, is a Padawan survivor. So he tries to, much like Man of Steel, where when he was a kid he knew he had abilities, but he hid them for his own sake and his family's sake. Cal here is hiding his Force abilities, his Jedi abilities, and yeah, it's pretty good. So as far as the story goes, like I mentioned, immersion puts you into the environment, into the world. And one thing it does is, the one way that it accomplishes that is by unfolding the plot, the story through the gameplay, not cutscenes, right? Not through text. There is some text that if you want to go into the additional lore, but it's not, it unfolds during the game as you play. And that creates immersion, and I love that, man. The enemies, they have good AI. They're all different. Look at we're seeing this boss fight right here. Her tactics are completely different than any other enemies that you would see. You get to use Force abilities. It's just, everything is spot on, man. Again, I think as a franchise, Star Wars really needed to deliver, and they really accomplished that with both The Mandalorian and The Fallen Order. There's customization in here. Great HUD. Look at the map, the mapping system. It's meant to have like a retro look, like the original movies, but it just works so well. BD1, you have a droid with you who's kind of like your assistant, but he's not just there lingering around throwing like corny punchlines at you. He's actually functional, and he actually plays a part in the plot, which you don't see too often. You see, like right here, he's interacting with the environment, getting you customizable skin. Dude, come on, man. This is dope, man. So if you are a gaming fan, I don't even care if you like Star Wars. If you're a gamer and you like action games like this, highly recommend. If you are not into this type of stuff, with the holidays coming up, you may know of someone who might be interested in this. This is definitely a good gift, man. Especially if you could get this on Black Friday on the low. Highly recommend. So, as a disenfranchised Star Wars fan, I think I might be back on board. Again, we'll see. They could fuck this up, but it would be really hard to fuck this up, man. So I'm really excited to not only complete the game, but see where the Mandalorian goes. So if you see this, give me your feedback. Let me know what you think about either the game or the show. Let me know what part of what I discuss is factually inaccurate. But yeah, man, just give me your feedback.